Yeah, it's another day. Been having trouble recording. Um, I've been going through. I don't know what it is. The way my mind has just been working, going at it. I don't know, but I try to. I try to find out. Try to go at it slowly, understand what's going on in my head, and just I don't know. But these last few days, there's just been this feeling of being overwhelmed, of just having a lot of pressure. It's odd to explain, but I did sit down and think on it for a while, and I tried to break it down. Obviously, there's um, life challenges, life problems on their own, but I think that despite all of that, because of how active I am in my reading and trying to understand and catch up with what's happening around me globally, locally. I think there's been a tactic used on me that's just been type of media tactic. I don't know, type of way to overload my brain. So yeah, I just sat down, thought about it, and that's what I'm like. I wanna go into. I wanna talk about it. I don't know where I'm gonna start with this. I got some research. I did some research, tried to make sure get the right things, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I think you'll see as I go on what I'm talking about, and I don't know. But these are what media manipulation tactics, depending on specific techniques and intent. And I don't know. I want to go through a couple of them and read out what I have to try and explain what I think happened in my head, like what I'm going through. Like that's the only way to like make sense of it. The first tactic that I want to talk about is flooding the zone. This has been popularized by Steve Bannon. The strategy involves overwhelming the information space with a massive volume of content, whether it's news, noisy controversy, half truths, or distractions, to drown out competing narratives or critical reporting. The sheer volume makes it hard for the audience to discern what's truly important or find accurate information. When I read this, it made sense because I looked at everything and just around me happening, the stories that were coming out, what media was publishing versus what was not being published, what you could find out on X, formerly known as Twitter or TikTok, and what you see on mainstream media. I don't know. There's a disconnect. It's publicly known at the same time. They always found a way to make it align at some point. But right now, the divide is extremely wide. It's extremely wide. The second would be information overload. This describes the effect on the audience. It's saturating them with so much data that they become overwhelmed, fatigued, and unable to process or focus on any single issue effectively, including the so called real story. I read this and I thought this is speaking about what I think I'm going through. Some type of when I sit and think just everything, I just get tired. I just get fatigued. I just think there's so much already in my day-to-day life that I need to do. And then when you look at what's just happening in the media space, what's happening around us, you then it's overwhelming. And you sit down and think just how to absorb all of it and process all of it. Because I'm in the belief that information is key in making a lot of decisions. And if you have enough information and knowledge, you can make the best decision. That being said, the amount of information and knowledge that is being spread and shared, it's overwhelming. It's a lot to process. The third here would be perception management or agenda setting, which is actively manipulating which issues receive coverage and prominence to shape public perception and priorities, deliberately elevating less critical stories to overshadow more damaging ones. It's it's one of those, when I read it again, I looked at what was just happening, where you have a bang of a story that will get everyone's attention. And then almost too quickly, there'll be so much half truths, distractions, misinformations around the story. And then as you are trying to digest the original story, because there's just so much of what's already happening, it by the time you get maybe halfway into digesting and filtering what's true and what's not, you reach a point where another big story you get hit with another big story. And then you're still processing the first one, but then now the second one already has misinformation and half truths going around, and you have to filter that also. It can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, it's an overwhelming expression. It's an overwhelming feeling. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot I know in terms of the news, what's happening. We can go whether it's Africa, whether it's in Gabon, Chad, whether it's in Angola, whether it's in Egypt, whether it's in Zimbabwe, right next door. I try to stay informed. Whether you want to go globally, whether it's something in China, in Beijing, in Guangzhou, in Japan, in Tokyo, whether it's something in New York, whether it's something in London, in America, the UK, I try to keep myself informed. Whether it's in Peter Maritzburg in Russia, I try to keep myself informed. But when I look at just the things happening around me, there's there's just a lot. There's a lot of stories coming out, and again, it there's a lot of clouded misinformation going on. It's something else. It's just something else. Here are the top five so-called big stories happening around me at the same time, and it's flooding out most of what's happening elsewhere. Like, this is most of what's in my face, and these are the things that have happened in what I'd say the last 2 months. So we have, number one, here we have immigrants are being denied healthcare at public clinics and hospitals, and this is being pushed by Operation Tutula. This is being narrated in such a way that it's for the good of the South Africans. And I made a video about this saying that this is sowing seeds of hate, regardless of whatever reasoning is being used. I first said this is sowing seeds of hate, and they're gonna bear fruit. But I left that aside. I heard both sides of the story where you hear the selfish self. I wouldn't you hear the South African, and they will speak on they are happy. The South African doesn't like immigrants, and you hear their joy in just being able to go into a public facility and be done within 2 hours. And then you'll hear the other side of, now the people you want to keep away, you still live with them, and if you deny them healthcare, they can still get you sick. There's an impracticality to it, which I don't know. Like no one thinks about it. No one is. I don't know. And I did go to a public hospital, and I from what I saw foreigners still being allowed in, and they were being treated the same way, being given healthcare. And I don't know. I think I think this is most prevalent in certain townships, but not everywhere. And sorry about that. But I think the media is choosing what to push as the news. The second big five news around me happening is that South Africa has been hit with a 30% tariffs increase by America slash Donald Trump, by Mega, and should take effect 1st of August. No one expected this. I mean, what was the point of going to America? What was the point of Cyril going to America and having that big meeting in the White House if this is what's gonna happen regardless? Like the country's just being undermined. The leaders are being undermined. The white owners, your Johan Ruperts, they were seen there in the Oval Office in the White House. What cause thing? Justifying their case with Donald Trump, saying that white people are not being killed in South Africa, and South Africa shouldn't be treated in a certain negative way. But look at this: 30% tariff increase, and this is happening in the light of Elon Musk and Donald Trump having their fight. They're not getting along right now. It's Everyone saw it coming, but now everyone's being affected by it. It's I don't know. I don't know. Number third here would be Lesotho has accepted American prisoners who are still serving time into its borders as some kind of deal. I don't understand, but those soldiers are, what I know is those soldiers are, I mean, those prisoners, sorry. What I know is those prisoners in America are a part of a group of people who are being sent to Lesotho to finish serving their time there. The complaints that I read about was that the American system is crippled under the current prisoners that it has, the overload, and they're trying to reduce the numbers. And when they try to contact all these other countries, your China, your Russia, your North Korea, your Brazil, to try and see if they could ease the load by taking their prisoners, all these countries refused. Rightfully so, because Trump has been hitting every country with tariffs. But now Lesotho, a landlocked country in South Africa, decides to accept these prisoners. It's These people are murderers, they rapists, pedophiles, thieves, fraudsters. They're all being sent to Lesotho, which is in South Africa. They're being sent to South Africa to finish serving their time. Apparently, Lesotho's prisons can take these amounts of people. And I don't know. Maybe I'm fetching here when I say they're prisons. What if they'll just get here and they'll be set free? And I don't know. But that's number three. Just big news happening around. A fourth year would be a Lieutenant General, Dlantlam Kwanazi, exposed a criminal syndicate that implicates the head of police, Minister Mtunu, and wide network of police officials and politicians. I brought it up in an earlier video. I don't know whether it was 3 videos back, 4 videos back, but I did bring it up and say that I was gonna speak about this as more facts came out. Little did I know that story on its own decided to open its own web. Now it has so much disinformation, misinformation, and adjacent stories happening around it. It is one of those things where, okay, you're waiting to get enough facts to say you're going to report about this. But the longer you wait, the more you report, the more you realize this thing keeps evolving, becoming something else. It goes from being one thing to two things to five things. It's Right now we have an official of the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene, being seen in the house of what we would call in GTA Grand Theft Auto We would call him the Don. Okay, that's who you call the Don. He was seen in the Don's house making toast, caught by the Hawks, which is the special investigating unit of the police. It's insane. It's crazy, and the denial story he makes. It's a he. I mean, he says that they must check his phone. They sent him the location. He doesn't know this guy. He saw him that day. But this dude's a millionaire. What millionaire has one phone? Yeah, yeah. And then a fifth, not that the what Operation Tudula, what they were doing was not enough, but there have been strikes in the major townships of Gauteng over electricity. In an effort to reduce illegal connections, ESCOM has been inducing stages of load shedding, while teams of electricians on the ground go door to door inspecting connections. And if they find an illegal connection, they cut it, then report it. This has caused an uproar in townships because most people don't buy electricity. Sorry. But yeah. So I saw this when I had to use public transport last week. Roads were burning. They had tires in the middle of the road. No cars were going on certain roads. It was insane. It was hectic. People couldn't go to work. Some people had to come back from work early. It was a weird strike, and this is all for the sake of electricity. Mind you, this is electricity people choose not to buy. They're fighting not to buy this thing because electricity is sold, but they are choosing to have illegal connections because if you have the skills, obviously you can connect yourself to the grid illegally, and that puts a strain on the grid. That's why it's one of the contributing factors of load shedding in the past few years. And this is part of the government's initiative, or ESCOM's initiative, to reduce the load on the system, on the grid, to be able to provide more stable electricity to the masses that buy it, the masses that buy it. But this has caused this has caused an uproar. People have striked. Shops have had to be closed. The transportation of goods and services has been disrupted. The system. Um, I don't know what the future of this is gonna be because once you get people used to something, it's very difficult for you to get them to change. Especially when you look at it, people in the townships are used to not paying electricity. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people go stay in the township. It's one of those big pluses. You just go there and you just have to pay for a place. You don't have to worry about electricity because they're stealing it from the grid, from the government. But it's been happening for over 20 years now. It's been happening for a while. But for them to now go actively the way they are going about it, it's causing an uproar. It's causing strikes. It's causing a disruption in the weekly cycle of work, whether it's people going to work or coming back from work. It's causing a disruption in the movement of goods. Some trucks, some goods, some services cannot get to where they need to go. So those are the big things happening around me. And those things have just, I don't know, so it causes a type of overload because, again, I say there's a lot of other things I'm aware of globally, intra Africa, and even just things going on in my life. I don't know. I don't know. I want to keep myself on a tight schedule at the same time. Part of the reason why I'm doing this and part of the reason why I enjoy it is I get to do it because I feel like it. And I'm able to provide good information, good content, and I can improve. Day to day improvement will not be seen, but you'd find that in a year from now, my content won't even be looking like this, but will be improved and better. But I want to be able to do this when I feel like it and not when I'm being overloaded. And I think it's one of the reasons why I'm making this now and not earlier. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to keep it consistent, but at the same time, I don't want to lose my why for doing this. So yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I don't know if you find the things I say interesting or not, but I appreciate you giving this a chance and watching it. It's a lot of odd information, I think, at times, odd things to know, things that I think about. But then at the same time, I think there are people like me who think the way I think, who can reason the way I reason, and have the logic. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. I've been using that word a lot because it's the one thing that's been ringing in my mind for a while now. But yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you. And please like, subscribe, and share. Comment. Um, on to the next one. It's AP. I'm out. Cheers.